How are you this afternoon? So we continue to talk or to discuss about how the economy of Zimbabwe is actually plundered by our Western counterparts. My name is Ngobani Zondo, and it is my intention to take over from Itim Nangako, whichever way possible, by the grace of the living God. Now, in this series that we're talking about on the plunder, economically speaking, I explained in the previous video that our resources are sold to these Western countries. We receive a US dollar, which they print out of thin. We receive this US dollar, which they don't work for. They print out of thin air. Okay, I know some of you don't understand it. Money comes from their imagination. So we get that US dollar, but the tricker said that when the billions of dollars come for Scott's gold, Nangagwa's gold, Takuria's gold, they don't bank it in Zimbabwe. They don't invest in Zimbabwe. There lies the problem. They invest it with the hedge funds who invest that money in Europe and United States. That's how our economy is robbed. So we no longer have an economic ecosystem because the finances that we should have um, accumulated from the sale of our minerals ends up being invested at the New York Stock Exchange, London Stock Exchange, thereby aiding their economic system. I hope you understand that, because a lot of people do not see the significance. That is a really big significance. So it doesn't really matter that uh, Dakwire is a multi-millionaire and his fellow monopolists in Zimbabwe, Nangagwa's friends, have got all of these billions of dollars. If those billions of dollars are in the Western orbit, then it's not their money. On paper, let me help you understand this thing. On paper, it might be $4 billion belonging to Mnangagwa that is being traded at the New York Stock Exchange. Well, the only thing that you can really do is just to look at the paper that's written 4 billion. After 6 months, they tell him that it's now 4.2 billion. He's not really spending that money. It's just insurance that is in his head. But where is the money actually doing the work? It's in the US economy, the British economy, where it is really buying real infrastructure, it is building real roads, real schools, real companies are borrowing that real money, paying real wages in the real main street economy of the British and the Americans, and not in Zimbabwe. So the Zimbabweans might be billionaires, but their billions do not aid their own country, even though those billions were made in Zimbabwe. So every time the mineral wealth is extracted from Zimbabwe, those that have won the race of owning minerals, owning mines, or whatever access to financial resources in the country. I don't want I don't want to judge on the people that have won, whether politically or financially, they made more money than others. But the problem that I have is that they've externalized that money. And because of that, it has caused our economic system to crash. You see, in economics, the economy does not know whether the monopolist got that money through illegal means or not. What the economy knows is that there is no circulation of money in the country. Now, if all the ZANU PF elites were to bring back all the billions that they have in New York, in London, Malaysia, all over the place, and they will invest it in Zimbabwe, our economy will boom without telling anyone. So you need to get this picture correct, that it is access to that to those finances that causes our economy to tank, and it is access to those resources, financial resources, that causes the Western world to carry on succeeding. London is known to be a financial hub, or one of their services is financial services. What that means is just it hoovers money from around the world and it is invested in London. I think that people like politicians like Itim Nangaku should be at the forefront of protecting the economy of the country, the integrity of our economic system, not being the ones who are clients to these billionaire investors who take the money that they made in Zimbabwe and invest it overseas. Even though it's still their money on paper, but in reality, they never really get to spend it. Come to think of it, if you are ED or an army general or whoever, you have got 5 billion invested in New York, when are you going to eat it? You're never going to eat that money. They're just going to be giving you, what you call it, statements every month or whatever, every quarter, telling you how your investments are doing. But you are not eating 5 billion. What you have is perceived security. But you know that as a compromised political figure, any political event in the world might change your position. Your money might be confiscated through legal means or other avenues that whoever has got access to the global financial system can devise, just so as to freeze your money or to or or to destroy your money. As I said, I don't want to judge, okay, because I know as Zimbabweans, we know there's a lot of people in Zimbabwe that have externalized funds, and some of those funds were accumulated through shady deals. And I understand the secrecy that is involved there that causes them to want to bank overseas. But I'm saying that it's not the full story. When the Westerners tell us about keep your money safe in safe haven, it's not the full story. They are not lying that it is safer, but it is safer for now. But what they're not really telling you is that it works for them. It works for their economic processes and works against and undermines the economic processes of your own people. So, because the environment in Zimbabwe has been deliberately made not to be ripe for investment, then Zimbabweans who make money don't invest in Zimbabwe. Zimbabweans who own gold mines, who own diamond mines, who own even basic businesses, whether it's supermarkets or whatever businesses that they own, but because they make multi millions. Now I'm talking about a high net worth individuals. I'm not talking you. So you will no chimbomira mbijani titaura namashefu mashefu with billions. Now what happens is that because you have made to believe that you cannot trust the Zimbabwe financial system, but if you are in government, it is a job to create an economic system that can be trusted. It is a job to come up with regulations in the banking sector. So you have got an opportunity to work on that, but because of the infighting in the elite in Zimbabwe and mistrust amongst the elite in Zimbabwe, no one is able really to step up and come up with a financial infrastructure that is able to handle huge amounts of monies. What I will do in my government is to forgive uh, the ZANU PF people that have got billions. I mean, there's nothing you can do. It's just for God to charge, not for you and me. I mean, what we need is actually to create a financial infrastructure that can handle 10 billion. If General Ningi has got 10 billion stashed somewhere and wants to bring it to Zimbabwe, our financial system should be able to handle that and keep it safe for him. We need to have certain level of secrecy laws. I know that globally secrecy laws are being done away with. That is why even the Swiss have are no longer as secretive as they were before. By the way, uh, I know that having a Swiss bank account has always meant that you are a rich person, but in reality, it was because the Swiss have got strict or secret banking systems that allowed people with billions around the world to bank in Switzerland and not even in their own countries. So they are moving away from that model. But I think that as Zimbabwe, we need to move back towards that model because of our circumstances. We need to protect our billionaires, okay, so that they do not fear government scrutiny of where the money come from. We need to have a robust financial system, just like London. London has it. The Russian oligarchs bank in London, but because of Russia invasion of Ukraine, they just come up with the rules and sanction Russian oligarchs. Now, Abramovich has to sell Chelsea, and other Russian billionaires are stuck in London, or their money is stuck in London. They need to invest all that money in Zimbabwe. I will lead a country that will create an economic system, a financial system that will be able to lock the billions in the country safely. All right. Whether the money is kept in the bank as cash or in vaults that should be protected, whether they want to keep it in physical gold, in secret vaults that are protected by the state and law and the army, or they want to create investment uh, uh, portfolios or investment vehicles that are protected by the law and country, not just Zimbabweans, but also other billionaires around the world. That will have an effect on our Zimbabwean economy. Even if the money is not ours, whoever brings in their money begins to work within our financial ecosystem. It boosts investment within the country. And as far as Zimbabwean citizens is concerned, we need to have laws that restrict or make it hard for capital to flow out of the country. Externalization kills our own economy. The Chinese have figured it out. That is why Chinese have got strict capital controls. It's very difficult for Chinese citizens to invest outside China. Most of their most of their wealth is invested in China. I'm sorry, my phone is acting up today. So that creates a system whereby the Chinese are able to reinvest on each other, and they've lifted over 800 billion people out of poverty. For me, it's not difficult to lift Zimbabweans out of poverty. If only we can understand the economic drivers that really are a game changer, that really make a difference. Kuti, if we, notwithstanding who made money, if that person banks in the country or invest with asset managers in the country who will buy uh, bonds issued by the government or bonds issued by companies in Zimbabwe. Therefore, we are able now, because of that environment, you will see that we're creating an environment whereby Zimbabwean born multinationals can excel, because we will have a market structure in which our companies can issue bonds that can be bought by these billionaires, these Zimbabwean billionaires, Russian billionaires, Chinese billionaires, or other foreigners who want to keep their money safe. So Zimbabwe must be a destination for safety, for safe money, without asking too much questions about where the money is coming from. I understand the arguments for questioning and all of those things, but we need to draw a line and also protect our economy and build our economy, just like London and New York are. Nobody really knows where all that money that keeps the Dow Jones Industrial Average going up comes from. You want a rule of law, but you don't want to be overreaching on people's personal lives, especially people's financial lives and how they got their money. We need to offer protection to our investors so that they can relax and keep their money in Zimbabwe. We need them to buy property in Zimbabwe, buy housing, even stay, live in Zimbabwe. Now, here's another avenue for economic growth. When we've got our global billionaires and multimillionaires, just like in Dubai, where we've got all these multimillionaires buying houses in Dubai. Dubai is a very hot place and it's nice and sunny. So is Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is nice and sunny. It's usually summer all year. I would build luxurious buildings, I mean, luxurious homes in Harare, Bulawayo, in smaller towns. Or even build up new towns altogether. Take a look at beautiful scenery in Matopo. Take a look at Nyanga, Chimanimani. We could build a luxurious homes there that can be owned by global billionaires. A recreation of what Dubai does. How does Dubai get to have that property sector propped up? It's because global billionaires and multimillionaires from all walks of life feel safe in Dubai. So they go there, they invest their money there, and buy houses there, and they live and play there. So we need to create Zimbabwe to be a place where our global rich can come and play there, which means doing away with silly laws like anti-LGBTQ laws. Allow men to sleep with men, women to sleep with women if they want to. We do not know where these Europeans coming with their sexual habits. We don't want to come here and tell them you are a man, you cannot be gay, you cannot be gay. No, we need to get rid of that and allow people to be free. So freedoms, human rights, they also will bring us economic freedom, that will bring us economic success. We create Zimbabwe to be a place that global leaders can congregate and discuss things, a bureaucratic place for a conflict resolution, whether it's conflicts in Africa or conflicts overseas. Take a look at our universities, building universities that produce diplomats. You know, these political diplomats and financiers who are able to work in our financial sector. Our financial industry must be big, compete with Dubai, compete with London itself, compete with King Charles. He is the one that I want to defeat. Oh boy, I'm not afraid of the city of London. If I'm given a chance to build that structure I'm talking about in Zimbabwe, I will beat London. Oh, mighty London. They're going to be singing, London spinning, look to Harar, Zim is going up. I'm telling you. I'm not afraid of challenging those ones. Don't see me small and think me children. You've got no clue what is in this head. We can defeat them. Okay. We can eat their lunch whilst they are watching and craving and salivating. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Don't play. To get what I'm talking about. So Dubai is a financial hub. It is a marketplace. We could be that as well. Financial hub and a marketplace. Marketplace for what? Marketplace for goods and services for producers around the world. There's a lot of investors, American investors or European investors, that seek to diversify from China because of the political risk with involving putting all of your eggs in China. We have seen that our global investors have invested in Vietnam, in Asian countries, India, and that is for the purposes of portfolio diversification. And not much is in Africa. It's the most advanced country in Africa. South Africa has got a problem with ESCOM, problem with ANC corruption, such that it is falling and therefore is not becoming an attractive investment destination. Zimbabwe can pick that up, and and then we can become a replacement. This is not a problem for me. We have got 1K. Let's get 1K up and running. Let's get Kariba also. That $4 billion project with Zambia. the hydroelectricity, I would fork out the whole 4 billion as president of Zimbabwe. This we're not gonna wait for the Zambians to fork out their own 2 billion. We'll fork out the whole 4 billion, own everything. Zambia must uh, uh, buy electricity from us, or we actually give them a little bit of electricity for free, because since some of the waters are theirs, so they have got some rights to it, but then they probably don't have 2 billion. So if we chip in that 2 billion, we would have more leverage and receive more electricity, because I want to industrialize the country. So I will need more electricity. So I need to get 1K working in our 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 Kariba, and then we will do some solar. Of course, you've got access to solar in Zimbabwe because it's very hot, but you do know these renewables are not really going to move the needle that much. But we need that energy mix. In the future, we have to look into nuclear, seeing how we can develop that. Now, I'm now looking into the region, looking at our neighbors, Zambia, DRC with particular importance, resource rich neighbors. Those resources need to be processed in Zimbabwe. You see, once we get an economic, a political system that is functional, it leads to a financial system that is functional with the rule of law, and therefore leads to broad-based economic emancipation of all other industries. And we begin to become a regional hegemon, and our political cloud begins to be felt in our region, because, as I told you, that in our universities we need to be producing these political diplomats that will actually create a, a systematic way in which we can be the lead, we can be the leading think tanks politically in the region. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I do not think that Edim Nangagwa and his friends have got this kind of mindset. I am not against Edim Nangagwa and Takure and his friends at all. The only thing that I want them to do is to get out of political office and let me and my people, my young people, take on. And then we create a country for them. They are Zimbabweans. Okay. Edim Nangagwa needs to be given a nice retirement package. By package, I don't think that he needs the little monies, the little few cents we can give him. He's a billionaire already. He needs political protection. He needs, yeah, political cover. He needs an investment destination, which is Zimbabwe, and be safe in Zimbabwe, and stay in Zimbabwe, and be a father figure, and watch the political young run a political system that functions. But I doubt if he might be interested in that, even if we were to explain to him. That is why we have to remove him anyway. We remove him because we love him too much that we need to remove him. We don't remove him because we hate him. No. We remove him because he is short-sighted. He doesn't see the bigger picture. Okay. He sees what he sees now. That mine. That's diamond mine. As I told you, that is very small things. Those are like seeds. It's like eating a seed. What the Scots Kupanyas are doing, going around the country, taking other people's minds, that's not where the big money is. The big money is allowing small guys operate mines. Let them operate their own mines. Let them come and bring the gold to you. Buy the gold from them. In my government, the Zimbabweans will sell their gold to the central bank, and the central bank will issue out Zimbabwean notes, Zimbabwean dollars. And that gold is not going to go to Dubai, it's not going to go to Europe. I will not sell Zimbabwean gold to foreign countries. What for? I'm not a fool. The gold is going to be, it will become reserves of the central bank, and the central bank will buy using local currency, not US dollars. People do not eat US dollars. They don't even need US dollars. What they need is currency. As long as the currency is stable, it is functional. So gold miners in Zimbabwe will get uh, uh, an equivalent in Zimbabwean dollars. After all, they pay their wages in US dollars, they will pay taxes in US dollars, they will whatever thing that they need to invest in this is in Zim dollars. I mean, they pay their wages in Zim dollars. Did I say that? And they should pay their taxes in Zim dollars, all of their expenses and their accounting in Zim dollars. If ever they need something foreign that needs US dollars, then they can go to the US. I mean, they can go to the Reserve Bank's marketplace where they can buy US dollars because out of necessity, not out of speculation. At the moment, we have got excessive speculative hoarding of US dollars that crashes our currency because our currency is undermined and it has lost confidence. It tumbles to the abyss, not because of uh, any real world dynamic or any market reason, any fundamental reason, but purely on technical basis. And but however, if we have got an economic system that is functional, that is stable, there will be no need for speculators to speculate against the Zim dollar. On the contrary, my policies will cause the Zimbabwean dollar to excessively get stronger, that speculators will be speculating on buying the Zimbabwean dollar because the US dollar vis-a-vis the Zim dollar will be going down. So the Zim dollar will be becoming stronger than the US dollar. Because of that reason, speculation will even drive a much stronger Zimbabwean dollar. And because of that, it gives the Zimbabwean Reserve Bank an ability to quantitatively ease, which is to print more Zimbabwean dollars to fight the strengthening Zimbabwean dollar. You get it? So when the Zimbabwean dollar is getting excessively strong, because remember, I don't want a currency that is getting stronger. A lot of people don't understand currency. They think that a currency must be stronger. No, it's not what you are seeking. You are seeking a stable currency. Usually in Africa, our currencies are always falling over time. That is a bad thing. So people think that the following currency is bad, therefore we must get a reversal of that trend. No, we don't need a reversal of the trend. What you are seeking is currency stability. You don't want a currency that goes either too weak or too strong. So but the advantage of having a currency that is getting excessively stronger is that you have got power through the central bank to taper some of that strength by printing more of your own local currency. By printing more of your local currency, you are actually bringing more money into the economy, which can be used to further increase the size of the economy. Because remember, all money is credit, and in order for us to increase our GDP, increase the size of our economy, we really need to increase the credit creation. So a stronger Zimbabwean dollar gives the Reserve Bank power to print without creating inflation. That actually is the advantage. The advantage is that we can print more money without creating inflation and use that money as credit to further industrialize our economy. That is further increasing our GDP. And our GDP is around what, 25 billion, 25, 30 billion, thereabout. That's very small. I want to crank that thing to 200 billion over a few years. And I think it is possible with this so-called this accelerated growth model that is brewing in my mind that I'm explaining to you right now. So once you get those currency dynamics at play that way, and you are industrializing, you are now pulling foreign investors, billionaires, multimillionaires around the world, just like in Dubai. They're coming to build businesses in Zimbabwe. They're coming to have homes, stay in Zimbabwe, which means I have to improve our road networks, our schooling. Road networks, not just between towns, but even our villages as well. Our villages must be economic hubs. This thing zokuthi ma-reserve must come to an end. You must know, what do the reserves come from? The reserve come from the white people's economic model of reserving unproductive land to the natives. That's why we call it reserves, where there's no economic activity. The land reform program took people out of some of these reserves and put them in productive farms, or possibly productive farms. But our government did not have a follow through agenda of getting that farming industry well well oiled or mechanized. We have heard the Takure's what is it that what did they used to call it? Uh, that scheme that led to ZANU PF people to loot the money. What was it? There's this farm mechanization program. I forgot the name. The one that Takure likes to talk about all the time. Okay, I forgot the name. But basically, it's a farm mechanization program that didn't work. It was used just as a looting spree in Zimbabwe. I hate thieves. I hate corruption. I would I will introduce a farming mechanization and modernization program, and no one is going to loot from it. I will fire you behind. Don't play. Holy is God. I will not be a nice person to those that want to undermine our economic trajectory. Our farmers in the rural areas and the recycled farmers need to be well organized properly and well financed and educated, constantly educated, with constant monitoring by experts on crop production, crop management, and the ecosystem of agriculture. With enough mechanization, with enough financing, there comes in the banking industry. Now, already our banking sector, financial sector, will be very competitive across the country, and also to even insuring, farm insurance. Tractors must be a given, vehicles, they must receive them, and a road system, so that we can get that produce from the market, from the farmers. If we have got this national integrated system of farming that is also cloud based, or IT, or, I mean, also using IT technologies, then the government is able to market our produce to other countries, to Europe, China, uh, Asia, America. Then we will have government offices that are dedicated to that kind of marketing of our farming industry. I'm just talking about farming as an industry and organizing our people to become economically viable. I've been looking at Matabeleland, but I think that people in Matabeleland are over investing in farming maize. We are a very hot region. We don't need to be focused on maize. Perhaps we need to be focused on more on livestock, chicken, rapoko, and stuff like that. But we need to be uh, more educated about it, more formal. Rural homestead should turn into commercial enterprises, whether each homestead has got its own commercial structure, or some homesteads need to create some kind of cooperatives, but they need to be commercial in nature, so that we avoid this excessive rural to urban migration. The rural economy needs to strive. The rural economy needs to be supported, anchored on the natural resources that are found in those rural areas, whether be it farming in those rural areas, or be it the mining in those rural areas. The children in rural areas must be taught at school. At least the school curriculum should be cognizant of the geographical area in which the kids are, so that they can learn the economic dynamics of their region whilst they are still young, so that they can be able to take over their family enterprises as they get older. We want to turn the whole country into a business unit. Everyone must be in business of some sort. If you're in the urban areas, what are you doing there? You mustn't just stay in Chidunguita for nothing. It's because it is a physical location that is closer to a factory that you want to be attached to, or to some kind of industry or work that is city based. But perhaps maybe you are a gold miner. Your mine is somewhere in Pindura. You don't have to even stay in Harare. You need to stay in Pindura, whether you are a mine worker in Pindura or you actually the one of the owners in Pindura. So you are there, therefore your own ecosystem begins to be developed there. I envision a position, a place whereby we'll have multiple of these small towns. You know, remember that we used to have things called growth points. Growth points is a very good idea because it actually is a financial hub of these rural areas. We need to revisit growth points and really turn them into small little towns that are facilitate for the trading of whatever economic activities is happening in all of those sub regions or those rural areas that I'm talking about. Okay, so I want to get rid of my reserve. We mustn't have my reserve. If even if there is my reserve, it will be off-grid locations that there are people that choose consciously to stay there, but knowing that there will be not much development occurring there. But however, we should have strategic locations around the country where our people can recycle, relocate, and be financially viable in those areas. But in other areas that where there is no economic activity, remember the Smith government took these people into these reserves uh, deliberately, knowing that there's no economic activity. It's just like here in South Africa, people were taken to Bantustans. The Bantustans were economically unviable. And the apartheid government knew that, and that's the whole reason why they did it. But then the black people have inherited that culture. Right now, you will see a lot of Xhosa people from Eastern Cape have got this mentality of leaving Eastern Cape and coming to Cape Town to look for a job because they have grown up in this economic mindset that there's no economic opportunity in Eastern Cape. So they don't think of how do we develop Eastern Cape economically. They just think of going to Cape Town to look for a job. And that undermines their worth even as human beings. And therefore find themselves as subservient of these other white people in these urban areas. I want the opposite of that in Zimbabwe. I want our rural folk to find economic value in their lives and even in the traditions in which they're doing. Some traditional women who are doing pottery, who are doing beadwork, who are doing all of those other things. We need to invest in them. We need to put some more education, some formalized education, even in a traditional artistic adventure, and promote it on a global scale so that they can be economic value and human dignity for, I mean, through the things, the artwork and the cultural excellence of our people. We need to celebrate that. To we need to promote that. We need to build upon that. So a government that loves its people and will have a cultural minister who will also be concerned about such things. Cultural ministry even takes me to talk about our architecture, how the architecture in the country has to reflect our own diversity and even our own cultural uh, origins. There is people with our own artistic and cultural minds, but we need to invest a very much formalized education system that will be able to help them integrate those two into creating something that is really amazing. Electricity in rural schools has to be a standard, with each classroom having a computerized screen on top of the usual blackboard, or perhaps another board that uses other kind of pen, but also need to have electronic board and uh, online lessons online access with other schools, perhaps within their periphery, whatever, even if they've got either some kind of inter-schools interaction. It also has to be done through online, through classrooms. And so this cloud education system should also be even in the found in the rural areas, so that some of our people, excellent people that are born there, could actually find the school to be a pathway to international stardom or glory, even if they're from the rural areas. Water provision in the rural areas is essential. I don't like this thing that some of our folks from the rural areas draw water from dams that are not sanitary or rivers. I need them to have access to fresh, clean tap water. There's different ways of doing it. You don't have to put pipes in every single homestead. You might actually have JoJo's that get water delivered to them. Basically, including rural electrification, whether it is a grid to our local clinics and schools, police stations, and those who can afford could actually tap into them, or through some kind of solar energy systems that is standardized to rural homesteads. But generally, the whole idea is to increase the living conditions of the rural folks. Rural life should get to a position where it is so attractive that the people that are those that are tired of the urban hustle and bustle will find peacefulness and tranquility in the rural areas, whilst being economically active, having a lifestyle that is economically viable. Now, as we can see, that this is a vision of a Zimbabwe that is truly transformed, and this vision that I have is truly transformative. It really needs believers. It is possible. I cannot do it on my own. I need to do it with partners who believe. Keyword: believe. A lot of our people do not believe. They've got little faith, especially when something is done by a black person. They believe that as black people we cannot do anything. If I was white, all of you would be running behind me, listening to me, listening, hanging on to every single word I'm saying. Because we as black people need to begin now to believe in ourselves, believe in our own fellow people, believe in our own fellow human beings, and stop undermining our fellow human beings. Stop looking at my background, stop looking at what am I wearing, how much does it cost, how handsome is he, who is he, who is his parents, what is his surname, which region is he from. Listen attentively to the core values of what I am bringing to this argument, and then we can begin to work together. Through reconciliation, our country can heal. Our people need to realize that it's time to stop political squabbles, but rally behind an idea that works, an idea that works for all of us, not just a chosen few. It is this new Zimbabwe that I am breathing unto you. Receive it, believe it, walk in it, exercise on a daily belief, on a daily basis, the belief and the faith in the future of a great and glorious Zimbabwe. It begins with you and me. It begins with adopting integrity as people, not ukukhiyana, kukhiyakhiya zwinhu, kujuta vanhu, kunyeba, kutsvaga bhegi. I did you call it kutsvaga bhegi, or kuhasla, which is essentially to steal, lie, deceive for financial, short-term financial goal, which is really is the cancerous spirit that is currently affecting Zimbabwe. We need to clean ourselves as people. And I do believe is the leader of the nation of Zimbabwe, anchored towards Christ, the word of the living God. And this direction I've been articulating, nothing can stop us. Looking past identity politics, hero worshipping people, instead of following ideas and ideologies that function. I am not creating a cult or desiring to create a cult, but I would love to create faith. Faith in tangible ideas, expandable ideas, ideas that outlive those that started them. A country will outlive all of us. Kukiya, kujuta vanhu, kuhasila cannot outlive you. You can take people's minds, 4 or 5 minds, and make them yours, and get some gold coins here and there, and invest some money in some secret place here and there, but it will not outlive you. When you die, it all comes cascading down to the grave with you. You will not be able to leave a positive legacy. Those of you politicians who want to change, you want to leave behind a positive legacy. You are in ZANU-PF. You know the things that we have done. But you want to start afresh on a clean slate, on a successful country. You want to be part of building Zimbabwe. My name is Ngobane Zondo. My doors are always going to be open. Let us move forward. I am not quick to charge. I'm not quick to anger. I'm not even quick to giving up. I'm sure you have noticed. I don't give up on an idea that I strongly believe in. I will go through with this idea through thick and thin, and through different weathers, through different climates, until it is attained that which is rightfully ours. Nyika yetu, naka yetu. We have to fight for it. And the first fight is in the mind. The battlefield in the mind. Believe. And when you believe, behave within the framework of the belief system. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ngobane Zondo, as I've said. I'm going to stop this video here now. And I'm sorry my phone has been acting up today. I think I've got a virus on my phone. It keeps on disturbing my shooting. But I'll piece together these little pieces and make one video. So don't be surprised if you have been witnessing a lot of breaks here and there. It's because of this virus in this computer, in this phone. Have a great day. Let's meet on the next video. And please like, share, and subscribe.